I am Verna Smith, and welcome to this edition of Issues in Focus. As promised, I say that every week I'll bring you my topical issues of the week in 10 minutes or less. And today I'm doing this taping on a Tuesday, May the 12th. And I want to say that this has been a week of politics and political theater. Yes, I had the opportunity to tune in to C-SPAN on Saturday night to see the Washington Correspondents' dinner, the White House Correspondents' dinner, and wow, it was some affair. The red carpet was truly red. I mean, I saw fashion. I am a fashionista in my own right. I like to see great fashion. The women were well dressed. The men were in their best tuxedos. It was an Oscar, but in Washington, D.C. And the performance after was fabulous. The president did his zingers with a straight face, talk about dry humor. It's like drinking dry wine. I mean, I was laughing. I mean, the whole event brought me to tears. I just laughed and laughed and laughed. Not to mention Wanda's cakes and her bites. As I said, if this was a dinner, the appetizers were Wanda bites and the president's zingers. And I think that after those people had a bellyful, there was no need for an entree. I had a feeling in terms of what I saw in the crowd, people laughed all the way through. Of course, I'll stick a pin to say that the president unleashed his pieces. He talked about, Joe Biden. When he started the piece, I thought he was talking about Bo, and then he went on to Rahm Emanuel, and he's not able to say day after mother. And then Wanda Sykes, she went into the piece with Rush Limbaugh, this being the 20th hijacker, and I understand that the GOP is quite upset about all of this. But those of us who are lovers of politics understand that once you get in it as a public official or something else, you have to have a very thick skin. If you can give it, you have to be able to take it. I listen to Rush, as I listen to a number of other talk shows, both from the left and the right. And once you are, as I said, into politics, be prepared that the digs are going to come either through a roast, through a bite from a comedian or a non-comedian, and you have to be able to take it. As I said, if Wanda thinks she has overstepped, I'm sure she will fully, get to a point where she will apologize if she thinks she needs to do so. But in terms of the entire program itself, I think it was a great success. I think it was fun. I wish I was there, and I hope next year somebody will throw me a ticket. That said, we'll move on to more serious issues. The president talked about his proposal to create new jobs for those people who are out of work. We learned from the Labor Department that more than 135,000 people are out of work. That's still a high number. Yes, it is better than what it has been in the last 6 months, but it is still very high. And the president has said that he's going to put together a team of persons, including Dr. Jill Biden, the wife of Vice President Biden, with his Labor Secretary, Hilda Solis, among others, to come up with a way to get persons retrained for new jobs. Great idea. Not to mention that the people who are unemployed will not lose their unemployment benefits as it would have been in the past. And my only concern is, what about persons who were consultants, who are persons who were self-employed, work out of their homes, were able to get money and to make a living, but the people and the companies with which they worked who are now out of business have thrown them out of business, and they too are looking for work. Any considerations that they will be given a chance for retraining? Some of these people are over 40. They are already being discriminated because they are over 40. Mr. President, what is your plan for this segment of the population? These are college-educated persons. These are skilled people with experience. We hope that in this economy, as you talk retraining, they too will be given a chance to be included. And I should also mention that in the past, I know that, training programs are falling by the wayside because the money that was put aside for training went into administration and other things having to do with the office bureaucracy, and real people were not trained at the end of the day. I hope there will be enough oversight over these programs so that in truth and in fact 80% of this money will go to helping people get back to work. That said, on our second topic, the stress test is in. Of the 19 banks, most of them have passed in terms of what I've heard. I'm not an economist. I'm not able to give the details. I can only go by what the president said. He has promised that he will tell us what is. He said there is a glimmer of hope, although Wells Fargo, 1 month or so ago, said that they had their first quarter of profits of how many billions of dollars. Look like they will be needing additional dollars either from the government or from the private sector or some private persons to keep going. As I said, I have some concerns. I was at Huffington Post, and she had some concerns that this so-called Wall Street, bullishness is not real, and that in truth and in fact, it's the bankers telling us that they are doing well, and probably that is not the case. Again, I'm not an economist. I can only hope that what we are saying and what we experience is true, because if that is not true and people are feel that they will be out of work for an unlimited amount of time without something happening, a rumble from the bottom will start. Americans want to work. People want to work. Our hope is that the economy will turn around in time and all of us will get a chance to be lifted by that boat we heard about through the trickle-down process. Yes, on the list also, I must mention Elizabeth Edwards is this week. She was on Oprah last week. Tonight she will be on Larry King talking about her book, Resilience, in which she talks about her love for her husband and the scandal about his having an affair. I don't know if it was a great idea. I can't speak for Elizabeth Edwards. It was her experience, but I know when John started, I was an admirer of John Edwards. I thought he would have been a candidate. This time it didn't happen, but I know when he was with John Kerry, a lot of people thought John Edwards would have been a good vice president for John Kerry had he won. And I don't know how this will pan out, but what I do know is now that Elizabeth has written her book on resilience to tell her story, and she has a right to do that, but she has actually put this affair in history. Is that a good idea? You tell me. Yes, there are other issues on the table this week, and the other is about Vice President Cheney. He has been on the television talking about, of course, the torture papers we talked about weeks ago, that he thinks that the Obama administration is, in all its release and talk of what it's not doing, is putting the country to be attacked again. I can only hope it's not so. I have a lot of confidence that President Obama understands exactly what he's doing. He has surrounded himself with a solid team of people, and yes, administrations have different points of view, and we are not surprised that some of the things that were able under Dr. President Bush is now changed under Mr. Obama. Two different presidents, two different philosophies of government, but I do hope that in truth and in fact and in time the bickering between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party will stop, because I do believe in a two-party system. I believe that a strong democracy depends on that, and while the Vice President, unlike others in the past, has not been keeping very quiet, as an American citizen, I suppose he has the right to free speech, and the Democrats can only do what anyone expects. Counterpoint. We have point, counterpoint. And after all is said and done, people will move on to talk about how do we, as Americans, participate and get our government moving in the right direction. I should also mention that Mike Huckabee himself has been throwing stones at his own party because he thinks that, they are on